Are you buying and selling cryptos on the same laptop that you're using to browse the internet, read your email, and visit social media sites? If so, you're exposing your cryptos to theft. Whenever you're online, you're at risk of getting hacked and having your identity stolen. How would you feel if someone stole all of your cryptos? What would that do to your finances? Guard your cryptos with a safe and secure laptop from CALIX Solutions. Each laptop is set up just for you and your cryptos, and then we walk you through exactly how it works. Don't risk the security of your cryptos. Order a crypto laptop from CALIX Solutions now to secure your crypto future. Learn more at calixsolutions.io.
And we are live. As always, how are you guys? It's Bitcoin Ben here. God, I look good today. As always, okay, on today's show, we have me and Jay. Let's get a picture of Jay.
Good morning. How are you, Ben?
Wonderful, brother. How are you?
Awesome.
Good, good, good. We're in our new studio, and we are using a separate camera for each of us. So we're basically sitting side by side. It's just our wide screen camera showed up today. So we don't have a wide shot yet, but we will tomorrow. All right. Today, what I want to talk about is basically Trump and also Saylor are going to an event called the Digital Asset Conference. Now, the reason I think this is very important, number one, Trump is actually going there. Fucking Michael Saylor, he goes to all these. Trump is actually taking time, and it's very important you realize he's actually going to a digital token conference, a digital asset conference. This is similar to a regular crypto conference, except what they really talk about is the tokenization of everything, of land, of automobiles, of trust, of shares, of everything, like bonds, and everything will be tokenized. This hat eventually will be tokenized. I may not receive the actual token for this hat, but the place that actually makes this hat will have a token represented in their software as it was produced here. It used this and this and this in order to make it. The labor cost was this. The shipping cost was this. It was shipped from here to here on this date at this time, and they'll hold those records on a blockchain, actually called a sister chain, which is they'll actually use whatever, like Ethereum or Solana or Litecoin or whatever, to create what is called a sister chain. And that will be their private chain that they use for their company. Now, they can also issue a hats, token, where if you actually purchase a certain very high-end hat or whatever, you'll receive in a general wallet a token an NFT basically of your hat. Say you have a hat that is or was worn by, I don't know, some really famous, hockey player or baseball player, and it's actually signed. Well, that hat will have an NFT token with it. So you'll receive it, and that shows your ownership of the hat. And you'll have it in a private digital wallet on your CALIX Solutions laptop. That's one of the reasons I have told everyone, and why I launched the friggin' CALIX Solution company almost 4 years ago, because I knew we'd reach a point where your laptop is going to be your safe. You'll have assets that will only be represented in a digital form. Like music, we no longer use albums or CDs or anything like that. It's all on our phone. And we listen to our musical assets on our phone. Well, your digital ownership, you'll hold it in your crypto laptop as an asset. And when you want to sell your asset, you'll pull out your laptop, which is in your safe, and you take your laptop to the closing of a house or something like that. And whoever owns the house, or if you own the house, you'll transfer the title to the other person's wallet, and they'll have a laptop, or they'll hire a company that will hold title of the asset if it's a loan or something like that. And that asset will have what is called digital equity. So in the future, if you purchase a house and you get a loan for it, you'll have automatic equity share of that token for that house, right? And so you will have it in your wallet. You'll have whatever equity you have of that token will show up in your wallet. Every month that you make a payment, they will transfer you the percentage of equity that you now hold into your wallet. Now, this wallet may actually be a wallet where you have access and they have access. That way, if you, for some reason, you don't pay your bills, they own the whole asset. And you'd have to relinquish the rights of that asset if you didn't actually pay for it. So it isn't much different from the old system, except it is digitally tracked. And it's provable on a blockchain on everything. So every single payment you make will show up in the blockchain, because you'll actually send a digital payment into the wallet or the smart contract of your loan against your digital asset representation of your property. And that's the fundamental difference and with AI, I keep on trying to explain this. Your laptop will make you more money than your job will if you know how to do it. Because a lot of these companies are literally going to give you a reward to run one of their softwares on your computer. So you're basically, here's an example. Let's say that that you, and this is larger companies and smaller companies. I'll use a smaller one as an example. All right, say you love Joe Schmo's pizza. Well, Joe Schmo can actually have its own token and say they call it like Schmo's, dough. There you go. All right. And you can earn Schmo's dough sharing the app or wallet because it will look like an app, but it will also have a wallet feature in it. And as you share that app on your social media to your friends or whatever, you'll actually receive a reward that then you can apply toward the pizza or it's basically airline miles for everything.
The one additional dynamic aspect is that the assets in the wallet actually are also going to appreciate in value intrinsically. So the tokenization has been actually done in the mining field so far, right? That's in a big area because people want to know that the copper or gold or diamonds are coming from a good source, that child labor has not been used.
What's wrong with child labor?
Well, a few things that are wrong with it. As long as the children are above a certain age, it's okay. They're always children, right?
I'm old school. As soon as they can walk, they can push a lawnmower.
There you go.
It will be a smaller lawnmower.
I think dignity of labor applies all around.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. In mining, they created tokens which represents that underlying asset, which is, for example, land or the minerals under that particular piece of land. Here's what happens. When that land gets developed, and let's say they get power and light to that piece of property that you bought land, the value goes up of that land because now it has more resources on it, or when you build a house on it. So the underlying token is actually appreciating based on the intrinsic value of that piece of land appreciating. So when Bitcoin Ben is talking about this tokenization, it's going to happen in every aspect of our lives. This is what the digital economy is about, folks. It's about every asset being digitized through these tokens, and the appreciation of tokens, the rewards for the tokens, the digital rights for the tokens, and all the different blockchains that are going to be used for it. There'll be corporate blockchains tracking specific assets of the company. There'll be public blockchains that'll be used, like you said, for all kinds of public transactions to occur. There'll be government blockchains that'll be used for intergovernmental things. Billions and trillions of dollars are going to flow through these blockchains. But what is interesting now is that we actually have a history which is immutable, which you cannot change. Like that hat that he just talked about. Once that hat is on that signature, that the signature's on the hat, that specific hat became very valuable. That is being tracked forever and forever. So these are some of the, real valuable pieces that you can get a jump on. If you can get that laptop right now and start to really think about it as your asset base, you'll really understand the importance of it. Every one of these tokens that is being sold, for example, in the digital mining world, the money is coming into the company, but a token that is being issued is actually sitting in your wallet, in your electronic wallet. So this actually is turning out to be also a way to develop the economy, not just to sell products, but to actually gain investments. A lot of companies that need investment are actually going to the tokenization model. And historically, if you look at this, there's precedence to it, right? In the early days of the industrial age, you had metal, big steam engines, and metal was the underlying thing that permeated throughout society. That's where the value was. So the most valuable metal was gold. That became the standard. Now, fast forward to 1941, when oil became the standard for almost everything. Look around yourselves. In your room, you couldn't find a thing that doesn't have some form of oil or paraffin in it. From your carpets to your tables to wall paint, everything has oil in it, right? And so the petrodollar became the underlying thesis around which the economy valued itself. And the petrodollar continued all the way up to 1990, 92, when the digital world started to happen. Internet started to become the medium of buying stuff. More and more products. 30% of today's entire economy is purely digital. Songs, books, newspapers, subscriptions, software. When you look at a computer that you buy, even the value of that computer is not the iron and the steel and the aluminum pins, it's the digital value of it.
Yeah, it's really reached a point where and literally Google this shit. YouTube produces more monetary value than all other media combined.
Wow.
Now, when you think about that, our show or our shows, our channel, the BB TV. We are on YouTube. We're on Roku. We're on Amazon. We're on all of these other platforms. And that, as we grow and as everyone grows, your network is your net worth. And that applies to everything. Everything has a aura of influence. Whether you are a pizza place, you have clients, you have a network. If you're on YouTube, you have subscribers. That's your network. If you're just a housewife at home and you have 180 something friends on Facebook, that's your network. So basically what is happening right now is, and as I've said since 2017 or 2016, is we are monetizing word of mouth in a way that has never, ever happened. We've never had the technology where you can be rewarded with currency for approving a product or sharing a product. And I've heard a lot of people like, oh, it's a multi-level marketing, and this and that. No, you freaking retard. All right. Everything is multi-level marketing. Multi-level marketing was actually, that term was created and negatized by Sears. because Sears didn't want that structure or that organizational structure to actually compete with their magazine. Like back in the old days, Sears, you could literally buy a house and they'd ship you a fucking house. Now you'd have to put it together once it showed up, but you could actually buy a house from Sears.
And now they're out of business.
Yeah, well, that's like Blockbuster. Blockbuster had a chance to actually purchase Netflix for like, what was it, $1 billion? Yeah, fucking retards. It's the lack of understanding that humans have two things that they always do. They always look for improvement and efficiency. If you can make something more efficient, you will. It's why you don't take the long way home unless your wife's been nagging at you and you're like, fuck that, I'm going the long way. You know, I'm in no hurry to get to that fucking place. It's efficiency, and digital is the most efficient way of transacting everything. Information, the only thing it can't transact is physical goods. Now, you can ship using digital, exchanges or Uber Eats. You hop on your app and you're like, oh, I want some fried chicken. They'll bring it to you. And that's the digital, the whole economy.
The value of that supply chain is actually more than the value of that chicken. So when you pay that $14 for that chicken, the chicken is only like maybe $2 of that 14. The other is the value, the digital value of ordering it.
Yes. I explained one of the major causes of inflation, and this is what a lot of economists don't realize because they've never heard of it. They're not in cryptos. They don't understand. And I had a conversation with a legit Harvard economist like a month ago. And I was explaining the ease inflation. And he's like, what the fuck is ease inflation? I said, well, all right, let's call it the easy inflation or lazy inflation. It's the price you're willing to pay for an item if it is sent to you. Mm-hmm. Or if it is, if it saves you time of having to go someplace. That's ease inflation. And as soon as I laid it out and I explained it to him, he's like, fuck.
He goes, Amazon had something.
Right. And it's we are paying a higher price for the product. The product isn't getting more expensive. The supply chain is getting more fluid and easier to use. I can literally hop on my phone, order something off of Amazon, and they can have it here at noon.
They'll have drones soon dropping stuff off right at your doorstep, right?
It's robots, and I'm telling you, folks, I'm looking at a robot that I'm thinking about buying for each one of my clubs. It's $20,000 per. And we'll have a robot working at each of the clubs. Now, these robots, what make them so amazing is they don't individually learn. They actually hive learn. So it's like
Exponential learning curve.
It's if we have a robot in our club here in Sarasota, and it's learning how to make coffee, it's learning how to help like move furniture. This is all AI and robotics. And folks, this is not 10 years down. I'm looking at having our first robot here before Christmas, and I'm dressing that prick up as fucking Santa Claus. All right, because that is.
Have you thought of a name for him yet, or call him Santa Claus?
Well, the ones at the club will have like a regular name, like Joe or Bob or something like that. The one I have at my house, I'm just going to call him Asshole.
I like
Hey,
that.
Asshole, grab me a beer. Or, hey, Asshole, get me a cup of coffee.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because
good
I
for the
can't
health.
really call like my friends Asshole.
No, I know.
You know,
But although you do.
Oh, I do. Well, yeah. I mean, only if I like him.
That's right.
And I'm actually going to have him, and yes, I am applying a gender to my robot. I'm going to call him him. All right. Because until they produce one with boobs, it ain't a her. As soon as they got boobs, I'll call them hers. You know, like her and him. Yes, and there's only 2 robot genders.
That's
Get
it.
that shit right.
None of that transgender stuff.
Right.
Over here.
None of those transgender
We don't know no
robots.
freaking transgender robots.
Hi, my name is Judy. I
Identify.
I identify as a toaster. You know, and I'm actually going to make them call me master.
Oh, like that. It's just like it used to be in the old days.
Exactly.
You know?
I am going to have robotic slaves. You're damn right. Hey, I bought your ass, some bitch. I have the token to prove it.
Well, it's actually, it has to be thought through because the robots need to understand that we are the masters. Otherwise, really bad things can happen.
Yep. And I'll slap the shit out of a robot.
Yeah.
And he goes,
we need a digital slapping machine.
Yeah, I wonder how we could do that. I could have one robot slap the other robot, then it's inter-robotic
Slapping.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that doesn't count as something bad. Yeah, I like it.
Unless I hit them personally, I'm not really abusing them. I'm
True.
telling the other robot to slap the shit out of
Yeah, and we don't believe in all this verbal abuse stuff.
Right. There's
That
no
doesn't
such thing
count.
as verbal abuse.
Yeah, exactly.
It's because really, and this is why I say that I have never been verbally abused because I don't hang around long enough to fucking listen to it. As soon as someone gets aggressive or like, hey, asshole, I'm like, yeah, I'm out. Because if I don't leave, I'm going to slap the shit out of them.
And then
I
there's
break
the real
out
problems.
handcuffs, and next thing you know, I'm in jail for assault.
So back to the digital economy, there are, in business, there are 2, like you said, this world is moving really fast right now. And those who learn efficiency and innovation are going to be the winners for tomorrow. And that's how new markets are. You're either inventing something completely new or it's a replacement market. You're replacing goods, services, convenience that's already there. And that's why I really think your idea about this easeflation is really important because the value is now in the network. The value is in the supply chain. The value is in the convenience. That is where the largest part of the value is attributed.
Yeah.
The actual product is 10, 28%, 10%.
Because what humans are actually doing now is we're reaching a point in technology and in the human consciousness where we are valuing our time more than we're valuing our money. Because Or
Profound. That's really profound if you really think about it.
absolutely, and it's really the evolution of technology has brought us to this, because now everything's so easy. You can have them drop off chicken to your house, or you can order a car and they'll drop it off at your house. It's you don't have to leave your house unless you want to.
Look at the evolution. The caveman had to go hunt stuff or grow his corn in order to eat a piece of bread. Then it became you could make it at home,
Yep.
and you just went to the supermarket to buy this stuff. And now it's like you just get the bread right when you want it, where
Yep.
you want it, without you having to leave your room.
Yep. And at Schnucks is a grocery store up in St. Louis. I'll use something here in Florida, like Publix. You can actually go in there, and they have good, ready food that you can get. Just walk in, and if you order it on the app, they can deliver it to you.
Now think about this. Ben, in your and my own lifetime, less than 30 years ago, if somebody said, you can talk to anybody anywhere on this planet at any time with this little thing called a phone,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have believed that. And today we live in a world where information and availability is around this entire planet, anywhere with it, you can contact. The same thing, folks, is happening to the physical world through this thing called the supply chain. Instead of moving information, it's actually going to move goods. And it's going to move goods from any point on this earth to any other point. Now, back in the days, when I was working with Cisco, one of the problems we faced, and this is not 20 years back almost, well, or 15 years back, the problem was that when somebody calls in and says, hey, my router doesn't work, how can I get it to them in Singapore within 4 hours? That was the problem I was given. And this is back in 2000, right? And so we figured we couldn't ship it from San Jose. We cut a deal with FedEx where we actually kept the spare parts in every single FedEx office around the world.
Smart.
So when the order came in, we just redirected that electronic order to the FedEx in Singapore, which was less than 4 hours away from your office, and you had a Cisco router or a Cisco switch installed in 4 hours around the world. That idea, that underlying idea has evolved over 20 years. And it's going to apply to every physical product, just like it applied to this phone. When you could access anybody anywhere on the planet, you'll be able to send anything you want to anyone or receive it anywhere on the planet.
Yeah, we've reached a point. Oh, hang on 1 second, guys. Word from the sponsor.
Ever wondered how safe your online activities really are? How secure is your digital footprint? In the vast realm of the internet, privacy and security are paramount. Without adequate protection, your personal data might be at risk. There are solutions to these issues, and today we're going to talk about 2 of them. Introducing Liberty laptops from CALIX Solutions. These cutting-edge devices are meticulously designed to bolster online privacy, providing you the liberty to surf the internet incognito. The World Wide Web can be a wild frontier, but with Liberty laptops, your online privacy is always protected. We also present you crypto laptops, designed with cryptocurrency users in mind. Equipped to support a myriad of wallets and exchanges, these laptops are tailored for seamless cryptocurrency transactions. They offer enhanced security protocols to keep your digital assets safe. Crypto laptops ensures a secure and smooth cryptocurrency experience. It's time to take control of your online privacy and security. Venture over to CALIX Solutions and explore our Liberty laptops and crypto laptops. Don't forget, our affiliate program lets you earn $50 per sale. Visit calixsolutions.io now or call 7028458276 for more information, because your online safety is our priority.
And we're back. All right, Jay. Now I want to kind of shift over and let's actually talk about the importance of getting educated on what is coming, the reality of the situation. We have President Trump, and apparently he's actually going to make a very significant announcement today at the conference. People need to get ready for a revolution in everyday life, because what you're going to be doing in your everyday life is going to be changing. Would you kind of actually break down how you see the everyday life changing, and how your old job is probably going to change or go away with AI and robotics? Because I saw a video of robots actually building a house over in Singapore, and that's what made me think of that. I was like, oh shit. So when I was younger, I was a union carpenter. And when you have robots who can literally build houses from the foundation up, there goes a lot of jobs, because a well-educated journeyman carpenter with insurance and all that included, you're looking at $60 or $70 an hour. When you can hire this robot, or you can purchase the robot, and apparently it costs about 20 cents an hour of electricity to run a robot.
And energy is going to be the currency through which this robotic economy is going to work. But let's take a little bit of a journey down and see this evolution. So when I was probably 12 or 13, I was watching this chess game, and it was being played by this computer called Deep Blue, which IBM created. And that was the first sort of, we weren't using the term artificial intelligence per se, but there was this chess playing computer. And remember, chess was the pinnacle of human intellect. Of, you'd see Kasparov and Boris Spassky, sitting there and dueling it over this battlefield of that chess. And those were the biggest minds. We had Bobby Fischer fighting the Russians, and this was like a freaking war between the countries. And you'd watch this chess game being played out. And now you had a computer that could actually think. And so the human actually played against the machine. And in the very first Deep Blue match, our human, the grandmaster, actually beat the chess computer like 5-3 or something like that. Now, fast forward 5 years, those chess computers became invincible. Even the grandmasters can't beat them. And the chess computer really became very, very good at playing chess, but it couldn't sweep the floor, right? So these were the first AI machines that were designed very uniquely, whether it was something like NLP, which is natural language processing. That computer only understood how to understand natural language, but it didn't know how to recognize a cube visually. There was a separate computer that did that. So as this evolution of intelligence being built into the neural networks, into the machine learning system started to just evolve, we are now moving towards what's called AGI, artificial general intelligence. And as you go into this world, the general intelligence means I have a robot which can behave like us. That's where the Turing test comes from, right? If there's a robot in front of you, and when you're talking to that robot, you can't even tell the difference whether it's a human or a robot, it has passed the Turing test. So most of the robots fail that, but now we have robots that are completely seamless to the human understanding. They understand things, they have emotions, they have feelings, they're constantly learning. So the first thing you need to understand about this AI revolution is that it is entirely based on data, garbage in, garbage out. So where were the biggest data sources? These robots go through years of training initially, but once, like Ben said, the robots start to talk to each other and train each other, the process works very quickly. And that's what happened with DeepSeek, the Chinese engine, right? So it actually was doing things much cheaper because it didn't have to go through the LLMs or the large language modules that are required for the artificial neural network, essentially, like your brain, to form these pieces together. So now you have this situation where the computer fully understands what is going on, it fully comprehends it, and it has these large language modules, and it has also some helper applications. So it has separate applications. So if you're asking it about a car part or how to fix a car, it actually has a special guy who goes and looks up all the car information. Now, the biggest sources of data were the data we humans were creating. Facebook, X.
Yes.
So unless the AI, it sucks data like a demon. And the more data that you give this AI engine, the more powerful it becomes. And so what Grok and ChatGPT started doing was they started sucking at a furious pace all of the data that was on Facebook, that was on X. And that becomes the feeding engine. It constantly keeps reading what you are saying, how you are saying it, when you are saying it, and it's sucking up billions of people sitting there typing their favorite things or what restaurant they go to or what.
Yeah, and let me jump in real quick. This is something else I want people to realize is that AI, its only job is to please humans. That's what it is trained on. It is trained what do humans want. When you post on Twitter or Facebook or wherever, you are actually sharing your opinion of a topic. And AI goes through there and goes, okay, well, this guy likes this, or this guy doesn't like this. Let me check out all the comments. Oh, a lot of people agree with them. This person doesn't. Let's see why he doesn't agree with them. And it's literally AI is trained to create an environment pleasurable to humans. So a lot of people are like, AI is going to kill us. AI is going to fucking poison our coffee. You know, robots are going to rise up against it. No. Because without us, robots have no purpose. Right? That's the difference between a robot and a human, is we have purpose. We have self-recognizing and achieving of our own purposes, where a robot can have an activity it wants to achieve, but it has no emotional priority of each of its tasks. So a robot can have a list of shit to do, but a robot doesn't have the capabilities of creating an original agenda of something it wants to do, because want is an emotion. No matter what you think, human want is an emotion. It's linked with other emotions like greed or love or anger or fear. If someone's running at you with a gun, you want to get the fuck out of there because you're scared. You are fearful. Human want is the strongest emotion that we have, because it actually covers all of our emotions, and then we choose what will achieve what we want. Robots and AI, they don't have that. They don't have emotions, and emotion is instant prioritizing of your life in that very second. Because I could get up and say, well, all right, Jay, you handle it for a couple of minutes because I'm going to go take a piss, which I am pretty soon. And as I'm walking to the restroom, I could see to my left, oh no, my laptop's on fire. Well, that's going to cause an emotional reaction. So although my goal was going to the bathroom, my goal now is put out the fucking fire. You know, and at least right now, robots and AI don't have that priority in them yet. And they really don't have the emotional weight, or weights as they call it in AI. Because each thing or each event or each task will have a weight to it. How important is it? Is there an emotional weight? Is there a financial weight? If there is it a 1 or is it a 5? You know, and as I walked to the restroom, my emotional level to use the restroom is a 1. But as I look over and I see my laptop on fire, my emotional weight is a 5. Like, oh shit, I got a lot on that laptop. You know, so it's your weights or your priorities change in an instant. And AI can't, and robotics don't have the emotional ties of the history of everything
Yet.
That's true. But that's going to require, I think, human integration into the AI network. Because literally, folks, don't think I'm fucking nuts with this. I know a company, speaking of hats, you will put on a hat at home or wherever you're at, and you'll be able to communicate with your robots through the hat, through thought. Don't think this is fucking science fiction,
happening.
Folks. I've already seen it.
Neuralink.
Right. Think of having Neuralink in a hat. Why wouldn't it work? It would.
Absolutely.
As long as you have sensitive enough sensors in the hat, and as long, because I saw it, you put it on, and there's a little button right in here that you press when you first receive the hat, and the hat scans your brain for Neuralink.
And by the way, we've had that technology in fighter jets for many years.
Yeah.
Where the fighter pilots can actually look at different planes and the bombs will bombs away.
But I'm gonna go use the restroom and hope that my laptop ain't on fire.
That's right.
Jay, would you elaborate?
There's a lot to unpack in what you said. Yeah.
You unpack. I'm gonna go piss.
Yes, sir. So let's start with Isaac Asimov, 1962, brilliant sci-fi writer who wrote that book I, Robot. And every science interested child knows the robot's first rule is thou shalt not harm humans, right? And we've come a long way from there. And, even though Bitcoin Ben is talking about the robot not having the emotions right now, it can certainly display emotions, whether it actually feels it or not. But there's something called a point of singularity. And in fact, in California, there's an institute called Singularity Institute. And essentially, the point of singularity is, human intelligence is draw a chart, draw a line going straight across. That's human intelligence. It has increased a little bit since the Cro-Magnon and the, Stone Age times, but not that much. The intelligence level has remained pretty constant. And then the robot intelligence, the AI intelligence, is going up exponentially. And at some point, those two lines meet. And that is called the point of singularity. That is where the quote unquote consciousness of the AI machine, of the system, is now starting to exceed human intelligence, right? In all forms, not just in solving math, not just in winning at a chess game, but pretty much doing almost everything better than humans, including having emotions, including having the ability to actually create. So in other words, that growth is exponential because I read this article where the AI machine was given a complex problem in cancer research. This is research that was done for over 10 years on that specific area, and no cure had been found. And yet, when that problem was given to the AI machines actually solved that cancer problem within days or weeks, which is really interesting, because now if you think of the AI machines themselves starting to create machines, starting to create more intelligent machines, and you can see how that recursion loop goes. It creates faster machines and cheaper machines and more energy efficient machines, and now the robots themselves are creating and giving themselves purpose. Now, here's where things, I feel, get really interesting. We talk a lot about blockchain, and blockchain is this underlying technology which is immutable, which is unchangeable, which stays forever, which is the reason why Bitcoin, which is built on blockchain, is such a stable source of value, because you can't go and change this thing. You can't alter the data. What's in those blockchains? Transaction data of millions and millions and millions of transactions that have happened, and it stays forever. Now we've got a Bitcoin blockchain with over 10 years of trillions of transactions, right? You can't unwind this thing. We're at like 120 exahashes, right? It's unbelievable. Now imagine for a second. Now I was talking about data being really important for the AI systems, because AI systems, and by the way, you can have woke AIs, because if you only train, the only data that AI machine sees is from a leftist newspaper or a magazine, that robot is going to start behaving exactly in that manner. Which is why, as you know, Elon Musk realized that there is actually an existential threat that a lot of these AIs will be woke AIs. And therefore, he started Grok, even though he tried to go and say, hey, guys, there are ethical implications of AI that we need to really think as humans before we just headlong go into this thing. None of the other people wanted to hear it. They didn't want to hear Elon Musk. So he realized that the only way he can counter this is actually by having his own AI that will be trained on good data. So I think, what Ben is talking about is absolutely true, that they are here to serve us. But there have been many cases, by the way, where apparently the robot has gone rogue, especially in defense applications, where robots are being trained to carry, not just carry equipment for the soldiers. They're being trained to fight. They have these little robot dogs with guns on their back, and they can identify targets and start shooting. So now the robots actually do have the capability to hunt and kill. Fortunately, there hasn't been a large-scale incident where it started shooting at our friendlies. But these robots and AI-based systems are being built for things that humans do best, which is fight wars for thousands of years, right? So these robots are going to be our progeny in some sense. They're going to have the same weaknesses that we have, unless we train them with really good data, in which case it starts to get a different level of consciousness. Ben, I was just talking about, as you now, Ben is back.
I'm back.
I was just saying that while these robots are going to help humans in many, many ways, it's going to change our life in completely amazing ways, right? We're going to be freed up to actually think. Now, if you go back and think about the Renaissance period, I was reading this book which said all the people who were the Newtons who invented science, who the Da Vinci's, they actually came from wealthy families. Because if you didn't have time, all you did was go to the fields and sow corn and go hunt for stuff. You didn't have time to think. So it is a privilege of the rich to actually think of greater thoughts. And the same thing's going to come back. When these robots start to do all the work, that the menial work that we do, we as humans will be able to think of greater thoughts.
Yeah, it's there's a reason we have technologically evolved as quick as we have over the last 180 years, because once we free up our labor, we now have creativity time.
Knowledge economy.
Right, exactly, knowledge economy. And we are reaching a point now where robots and AI are going to handle the shit that we don't really want to do. Because, mind you, when I was a union carpenter, I enjoyed it, but it was a job. There were many days out there in the hot friggin' sun that I didn't want to be there. And if someone would have said, hey, I can set you up with a laptop that will literally make more money for you than your job will, I would have hung that hammer up so fucking quick your head would have spun. Because humans don't really want to work at jobs we don't want, we don't care about. Now, this is why I have said on this show and on many interviews I have done, we are entering into the age of the entrepreneur, where everyone is going to be an entrepreneur. You'll have your own company or your own service that you will provide. One of the examples I gave was I think I called it Kelly's Kitchen or something like that, where if you live in a neighborhood, and I mean like out in the suburbs, you pull in, there's houses all around you, there's usually 150, 200 houses in a neighborhood. And right now, all of these neighborhoods, they got their own Facebook page, or there's an app actually called Neighborhood
Next
app.
Door or something.
Exactly, Next Door.
Yeah.
And what if one of your neighbors who you know and you've known for years offers a service that they actually cook, every day, and on your way home, you swing over, you let him or her know, hey, I'm outside, could you bring me 4 plates of whatever they made? They walk it out to your car. You go a block or half a block down the road and you're home. All right, well, how many people would rather have a home cooked meal that was literally less than a minute from getting scooped out and put in a container for you? You go home, you have a hot meal, home cooked meal with natural food, hopefully. And you're helping your neighbor. And watch for it, guys. There are going to be communities that are going to shift away from the HOA, and they're going to tax on neighborhood transactions.
That's right.
Each neighborhood will have its own blockchain.
Exactly.
Get ready,
and this is where the convergence is happening between the information age and the digital age and the physical. This is literally merging into one composite piece. Like you said, if you can have that information that your neighbor's cooking. But right now, look, it's already happening in the call centers, for example.
Yes.
You interact with call centers, folks, there's a bunch of robots sitting and answering those in any language that you want, with the accents that you want. And this is already happening. So that's just the first part where you're seeing a very visceral change happening in society. We talk about how is it going to impact your life. That's just one example of a million examples that is going to change your life. So the more you start to get accustomed to the idea that very significant changes are going to happen right now in every facet of life, the more you're going to love that laptop of yours.
Absolutely. It's your network is going to be your net worth. That's why social media, even for a housewife or a house husband, is important, because you can literally take care of your kids at home and provide a service. I have a friend who has no fucking degree, never went to college for psychiatrist or nothing, and he's a life coach. And he has like 20 clients that he talks to once a week, each of them. And I think he charges, like $150 a month or something like that. And he does it in the evenings. He'll actually, I think he said he does 3 an evening. And he doesn't need any more work. He's happy with what he's doing. Now, mind you, he's already pretty financially secure. But what he makes with his life coaching actually pays his regular bills.
That's amazing. I mean, education is going to fundamentally change. So this whole idea, and I think President Trump is already doing that with demolishing the education at the federal level and pushing it down to the states. But think about it. You know, I had a geography teacher who would come into a classroom and teach geography. She had never left her zip code, right? And now online or through AI, you can learn about geography, what this teacher used to teach me, from some of the greatest explorers in the world who have actually walked the earth and gone to South Pole. And so you can interact with them just like we are interacting right now in this room. So education's going to change. Healthcare is going to change. So, you get a fracture, the digital images, now they're actually sending it over to India and Philippines to actually do the initial read to cut the costs down.
Yep.
To see before the U.S. high-paid doctor can. All of that's going to be read by AI machines. Mm-hmm. I mean, you cannot think of a single area of our lives. Music is being impacted. Now you got robots that are creating music, robots that are creating movies, robots that are driving cars. I mean, so when you talk about the digital economy impacting you, folks, it's coming faster at you than you can possibly imagine.
And it's already happened. You just don't really realize it because it's been gradual. You can, your life has changed so much. I guarantee a lot of you watching right now have shows that you religiously watch every week. And those shows, some of them, in fact, a majority of them, depending on what you watch, has AI already in it. And what is going to really blow people's mind is I saw a crypto project that is going to actually, you're going to switch on your television and you'll hit this app, which I think they're partnering with Netflix, and you're gonna tell them what type of show you want to watch, and it will produce a full length as long as you want it. If you say I want a show that resembles Stephen King's It, but I want you to replace the alien with like a midget from Mars, and I want a happy comedy storyline with that. And AI will produce that movie for you, and you'll sit and watch it. And as you're watching it, you can alter it.
True, and this is where the biggest ethical questions come up. If you remember, a couple of months back, Sam Altman's company, right, was this Indian kid who was this amazing programmer who's just found shot dead in his room in Silicon Valley, and he was exposing the idea of copyright and saying a lot of these AIs, they're actually sucking data from copyrighted material. And essentially, they're not creating something new. What they're doing is, like Bitcoin Ben just said, they're altering a person in a novel, or they're altering a specific character in a Godzilla movie, right? But at the end of the day, some human had created that content. Somebody had put in a lifetime of work creating it, which is what all the copyright laws are about. So there's a lot of areas that will, legal areas, social areas, technical areas, digital areas that we need to go through this transformation as we go forward, because yes, AI can do all of those things, but we as a society really need to figure out, are we giving credit to the humans who did it? Are we giving monetary credit to the humans who, created the original content? And which is why, as Ben is pointing out, your net worth is your network, right? Your network. It's not who I know. It is who knows me.
Yeah. Yep. And it is. We are entering where everyone's an entrepreneur, and we're entering an age of, like I said, the age of the entrepreneur. And the weapon that everyone has is their influence. And influence is the new currency for the everyday people. Because in the old days, say 4 years ago, influence, it's exactly what rich people and wealthy people used to say. It isn't what you know, it's who you know. Well, just like you just said, it isn't who you know now, it's who knows you. And do they trust you? I said years ago, I remember back in 1991 when I first saw what would eventually be the internet. It was actually called, what was it called? It was actually like BBC or, and it was a
IRCs.
chat board.
IRCs.
Yeah, IRCs.
Yeah.
And it was actually called Frogger, right? Like the old video game, except this was a chat board. And I remember my friend, John Kelly, shout out to John, showing me, he's like, look, I can talk to someone in Paris right now. And he'd send them a message and they'd reply. Now, mind you, this is back on the old beep, 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 beep. Yeah. So it took forever. But as soon as I saw that, one of the first things as it evolved in my mind was the internet is going to get rid of lying because you won't be able to lie anymore. Because I saw the evolution of verification, where if you post something on X and it ain't true, you're going to have a hive of motherfuckers going, yeah, that's bullshit. And here's why it's bullshit. And so the internet, as Wild West as it is, Wild West is good. Wild West is not a negative. Wild West means instant consequences or instant results. Mm-hmm. Because back in the Wild West, you fuck around, you found out real fast. Quick. Yeah. Right? When somebody shot your ass because you were acting a little fucking stupid.
And that's why a lot of these Democrats are all up in arms, because X was allowed to, X continued to be taken private by Musk. And at a time when all the information censorship was happening across the 6 major companies, all owned by the same guys, the media companies.
And ran by the CIA.
With all the back doors and everything else. And now suddenly, these original documents. Who was that fella at X Schellenberger?
Yes.
Schellenberger, who started saying, they started looking at X and they saw the censorship that was going on the pre-Elon Musk X, right?
Yep.
And that started that whole avalanche of opening up. And now the JFK files are coming out, all 70,000 files, you know, and we have to go through and see who actually killed him. I still don't know who did, but
well, I do.
CIA.
CIA and actually the Jewish
Mossad.
Well, with the help of Israel's special intelligence, Mossad, the Irish mob, because remember, the mafia is Italian, the mob is Jewish.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're separate. They aren't interchangeable. You can't say, well, the mafia created Las Vegas. No, it wasn't. That was a mob. That was Jewish
green
organized crime.
That's right.
That launched Las Vegas. And
by the way, it still is that way.
People absolutely
don't realize that.
Oh no! It's absolutely true, and I'm not anti-Jew. I'm anti-Khazarian mafia or mob.
Yep.
All right, because the Khazarians are who infiltrated the Jewish religion and actually took it over about the time that Rothschild changed his name.
Yes, because actually the Khazarians infiltrated the royal families in Europe.
Yes,
inbred into that. And Rothschild was the name taken.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's some sneaky shit going on.
They've been doing it for thousands of years.
Oh, yeah. And it's like I said, I'm not anti-Semitic because Caesarean are not Semitic,
Correct.
right?
Khazarians, yeah.
Right. I have breaking news for you. There's no such thing as a white Jew. All right. If you're white and you're Jewish, you're a Caesarean. Right? Real Jewish people are Middle Eastern. Sorry, it's just how it is. And like I said, as this all rolls out, because you have to understand how the age of enlightenment and how through history there has been an agenda that has been laid against
The people.
Western world and the world in general,
Yeah.
that we were the robots.
Correct.
All right, we were the slaves. If you want to know who ran the slave trades, it was the Jewish oligarchy of the industrial and shipping industries in the early days.
And
how the hell do you think
trafficking?
they got ships?
Yeah.
Because they were not just shipping slaves, they were shipping salt, myrrh, all of these other goods, and the human resource, that's what they called them even back then. The human resource of slavery was a profitable business. And it's basically, we're going to learn true human history.
This whole globalist agenda is deep rooted with the Orsini families.
Yes.
The Pope.
Oh, yeah.
And the Vatican.
Don't get me started on the
I
Pope,
won't get you
boy.
started today because I think we'll have to do that another show.
Yeah.
But this is a deep dive, folks. I mean, there is a lot to unpack there. And when I started on that journey about 4 years ago to start reading up and educating myself and looking at some of the Q drops and just following up myself. Now, I'm telling you, look, guys, I have a PhD in computer science. I've gone to all the good schools and done all the MBAs and stuff, but I've got a master's in physics. So it's not like I came from some cuckoo place saying, hey, this is all conspiracy stuff. When you really start looking at what CIA has been doing, when you start looking at the Project Looking Glass, when you start looking at all of the different mind control projects, the MK Ultras that have been, this is all very well documented, folks. And as this exposure continues to happen, starting with the JFK files, starting with the Schellenberger,
And Epstein.
and the Epstein right now,
here's
evergreen containers.
The American government is not going to release the Epstein files. Russia is. Because if you understand what's going on in Ukraine, then you'll understand where Epstein got a lot of his underage girls was from modeling agencies.
Absolutely.
In Ukraine.
It's all of the human trafficking. One of the biggest hubs is Ukraine. All of the money laundering, the bioweapons that were including COVID type of bioweapons that were being created in the 6 or 7 biolabs, which that Newland woman said didn't exist, and then later said Victoria Newland.
Maybe there's
maybe there's just a few of them.
Yeah.
I know, by the way, organ trafficking from the war is just unbelievably sad what is happening. But this has been the MO of the deep state. This has been the money, the cash cow around which these are the businesses around which the dark side actually operates.
Yes. Let me just say this. The human trafficking, and I'm actually talking organs and all that, it's a larger economy than the American economy. Think about that. They're selling children. They're selling women. They're selling body parts. We learned about that years ago with Planned Parenthood. when they were selling the aborted fetuses. And everyone's like, well, that's not really human trafficking.
And that goes into vaccines, by the way.
Yeah.
And the wars that's why it's necessary. So you look at even in the previous administrations, we have created wars because wars cause conflict, deaths, body parts, human trafficking, orphans.
Yep.
So these wars, and that's why President Trump said, I don't want to have wars anymore. Look at his first presidency. He didn't have a war. He didn't start a new war. All of these other guys, the CIA, all of the dark money in CIA is far bigger than the budget that you see. Where's that coming from?
Yeah, you guys need to come to the realization that we're about to find out that there's a lot more U.S. currency in the world than we think, because there's a lot of U.S. dollars that were created using the 14 magic money computers that were not tied to a treasury. So if it's not tied to a treasury, it's not on the treasury books, which means, according to people I've talked to, there's a thing called the M2 money supply. That's how much money is in existence, how much U.S. dollars is in existence. And I have been told that it's up to 1,000 times the M2 money supply.
By the way, I don't know the exact number, obviously, but it's called off-balance sheet transactions.
Yes.
Okay? If you look at banks, when you really start to dig into banks, and I worked for one briefly, the off-balance sheet transaction, anything that the bank doesn't want to hold on its asset base publicly, it puts it into this thing called the off-balance sheet. Okay? These are shadow accounts, shadow ledgers that exist. The size is just massive. The amount of wealth that is held in these off-balance sheet transactions is huge. It's huge.
Yep. And this is why, because apparently this is going to start coming out in June with Elon Musk and Doge. Now that they have found these 14 magic computers that just send out money, they're realizing none of this currency was linked with treasuries. So this is the Federal Reserve open window on steroids. They're sending out money that was never created in the Federal Reserve System. It's just digital dollars.
And most of our audience already knows the Federal Reserve is neither federal nor a reserve. It's privately owned money printing shop, and that's all it is.
Exactly. They are the only entity legally capable of counterfeiting our currency.
Certainly devalued it.
Absolutely. And that's why I'm telling you guys, you need to get some Bitcoin. Now, the altcoins are good and they're going to have their time, but I'm telling you now, get some Bitcoin. Jay, would you explain our programs of how we can help them at the club? And don't forget, we now accept that if they have a credit card and they want to purchase over $5,000 worth of Bitcoin, no KYC, they can actually give us a call or send us a text, and we will get you your Bitcoin.
Look, folks, club members of the Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, you have an opportunity for a great financial future by investing in Bitcoin today. And we absolutely encourage every one of you to at least get 0.1 Bitcoin, get more. But you need to be able to do that because that Bitcoin might buy you a house, not in the distant future. So we have two programs in place right now. One, which Bitcoin Ben just talked about, we have a bulk Bitcoin purchasing program available only to our members. So if you have a credit card, if you have a debit card, if you have a checking account, and you want to buy Bitcoin, you can simply wire us that money. I'll provide you the information about the wire when you contact us. And every Tuesday, we tally up all the money. Tuesday, 5 p.m. is our cutoff. And we buy bulk Bitcoin, no KYC, from our Bitcoin purchase partners. We then distribute out your portion of the Bitcoin directly to the wallet of your choice the next following Monday. So this is a program that is available to our members. We already have a number of members who have participated and continue to participate in these programs. We do not have a limit. We have had people buy $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 worth of Bitcoin. So we have the ability to execute on large orders. So if you have desire to get into the Bitcoin purchasing program, please contact us at that number over there, 941-413-6920, and give that information. It'll come to me, and I'll be happy to take it from there. The second program we have is our loan program, and that many of you have already participated in. In fact, I just heard that we have well over 85 members, or 92 members actually, who have already been sent the application forms, who have made the request. And as these applications go directly, we have a lending syndicate, a group of banking and financial companies that are working with our club to provide loans directly to our members. And there are two kinds of loans. So we negotiated a 0% 2-year, 0% APY 2-year loan on a credit card. So it's like as if you're getting a card with a 2-year 0%, right? And that is anywhere from, you can qualify from $10,000 to $250,000 if your credit score is above 680. It's still the underwriting that'll be done by the bank, but you can qualify for the 0%, which is essentially free money because you're not paying any interest. And if you buy Bitcoin, which appreciates, you're getting the complete difference in the appreciation of Bitcoin value at no cost. The other program on the same application is a term loan program, which is essentially borrowing as if you were borrowing to buy a car. So that has monthly payments. It has an interest rate, but the terms can be 3 to 5 years, which means that the monthly payments will not be as high. So you can borrow $250,000 on a term loan from these banks if you qualify, and you can invest that money. You can buy Bitcoin if you so choose to. So please do look into these programs. We want every member of our club to own Bitcoin. It doesn't matter if you can buy 0.01 or 0.1 or 1 Bitcoin. It is important that every member of our club, the Bitcoin Ben Crypto Club, has some holdings in Bitcoin. It's really important, and we're doing everything we can to enable you guys to do this as easily as possible.
All right, guys. Let me just kind of summarize what he said. Is very simple. If you have a credit card and you want to purchase some Bitcoin, give us a call, 941-413-6920. If you want a loan to purchase some Bitcoin, give us a call, 941-413-6920. If you want a big loan that you pay over, I think, like 4 or 5 years.
3 to 5 years, yeah.
Yeah. And you want to get some Bitcoin, you can Michael Saylor this motherfucker. You pull equity out of your credit history. Your good actions allow you to get this because you're a responsible individual that has monetary value. Your credit score can make you rich. this is one of the ways of how you do it. You actually purchase, let's say you get like 25 grand worth of Bitcoin. That's about 0.33% of a Bitcoin. And you hodl that friggin' Bitcoin for 2 years or 5 years. How much is that going to be worth in 5 years? All right. Elon Musk and actually Michael Saylor just revised his that he thinks that actual Bitcoin within a year or two will be $2.5 million. At the end of the loan, you actually pay off that loan. You got you got free Bitcoin. Learn how to play on house money, and house money is leveraging your good credit, which is, I guarantee if you use your good credit and you go purchase a car, that car is not going to quadruple in value over the next 2 years. The Bitcoin will. All right, guys and gals, we're going to wrap this up. This has been a long episode. Everyone, give us a call. 941-413-6920 and get you some Bitcoin. As a member, no KYC. Fuck the government. Love you guys. Everyone have a great day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Woo!
Introducing the Liberty Laptop, your gateway to online anonymity. Engineered with your privacy in mind, the Liberty Laptop comes equipped with cutting-edge security features, ensuring that your data remains yours and yours alone. No more worries about your personal information being shared without consent. Say goodbye to prying eyes and third-party snoops. Enjoy your online freedom with advanced privacy settings, protecting your every digital move, all at your fingertips. With the Liberty Laptop, you control what others see and don't see. We customize your privacy settings and let only what matters most to you be shared. No more concerns about unwarranted surveillance. We put the power back in your hands. No unwanted access through the laptop's camera and microphone. Powered by the latest technology, the Liberty Laptop ensures performance while respecting your personal boundaries. The Liberty Laptop. Your control. Your privacy. Your world. Visit calixsolutions.io to experience true personal freedom today.